Jnanatamrandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Today we're looking at the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? So you had to look at it. That's it. What verse? One was a marker.
You did yesterday. Srimad Bhagavatam was done yesterday.
This is just today's
Select verse.
Prahlad issue.
Okay, and are we marking it at the spot where we want to speak from?
I think it's your choice.
My choice. My choice is your choice, to be honest with you. Okay, so then, here we go. The Lord slays the king of the demons. That's the chapter. And it's chapter 8, and it's text number 5. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's canto 7. Shri Haranyakashipu Ruvacha. Hey Durvinila Mandatmanna Kulabeda Karandama Stabdam Mach Chasanu Vritam Nishye Padyo Yamakshayam. And the translation is, Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent, disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you. And therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Srila Prabhupada. Hiranyakashipu condemned his Vaishnava son, Prahlad, for being Durvinila, ungentle, uncivilized, or impudent. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, however, has derived a meaning from this word, Durvinila. Durvinila, by the mercy of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. He says that Du refers to this material world. This was confirmed by Lord Krishna in his instruction in Bhagavad Gita, that this material world is dukkhalayam, full of material conditions. V means Vishesha, specifically, and Nita means brought in. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, Prahlad Maharaj was especially brought to this material world to teach people how to get out of the material condition. Lord Krishna says, Yada, yada, hidharmasya, laniyan bhavati bharata, and that's all he says in this prayer. When the entire population or part of it becomes forgetful of its own duty, Krishna comes. When Krishna is not present, the devotee is present. But the mission is the same, to free the poor conditioned souls from the clutches of the Maya that chastises them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further explains that the word mandatmum means manda, very bad, or very slow, in spiritual realization, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.10. Manda Sumandamuktayo, Manda Bhagya. Prahlad Maharaj is the guide of all the mandas, or bad living entities, who are under the influence of Maya. He is the benefactor even of the slow and bad living entities in this material world. Kula Veda Karandama. By his actions, Prahlad Maharaj made great personalities who established big, big families seem insignificant. Every one is interested in his own family and in making his dynasty famous. But Prahlad was so liberal that he made no distinction between one living entity and another. Therefore, he was greater than the great Prajapatis who established their dynasties. The word stabdum means obstinate. A devotee does not care for the instructions of the asuras. When they give instructions, he remains silent. A devotee cares about the instructions of Krishna, not those of demons or non-devotees. He does not give any respect to a demon, even though the demon be his father. Much chasano vritam. Prahlad Maharaj was disobedient to the orders of his demoniac father. Yama Shayam, every conditioned soul is under the control of Yamaraj. But Hiranyakashipu said that he considered Prahlad Maharaj his deliverer. For Prahlad would stop Hiranyakashipu's repetition of birth and death. Because Prahlad Maharaj, being a great devotee, was better than any yogi, Hiranyakashipu was to be brought among the society of Bhakti yogis. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained these words in a very interesting way, as they can be interpreted from the side of Saraswati, the mother of learning. Namo Vishwanath. She's done for today. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Kanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayani Yavrishesha Shunyavani Paschatani Shikani Jai. Today we're celebrating the manifestation or incarnation of the Lord who brought about blood, guts, and gore. The very powerful Narasimha, who came to the world as half and half. I don't know if you sell half and half here, but in the West, like I mean to say north of the sea, in Canada and the US, they sell half and half. That means it's milk with a lot of butter fat in it. So it's not just like watered down milk, but it's half and half. It's richer than regular stuff, half and half. Half and half is good. Can be good. It's very good. Half and half is really good. Helps me to go to sleep. Please don't buy any for me. Half and half is good in the sense that when you're talking about a couple, it's a male and it's a female. And that's usually good. Usually. Not always. So half man, half lion. Great. What was required for Prahlad's protection was something that was formidable, and that is a lion. The lion is considered to be the king of the jungle. Unless, of course, he meets with a hippo. Yeah. I mean, the hippo the lion just has to get his head in with his mouth and you know, the lion. Or even a rhino, for that matter. You can't dig in and rhino just does this thing. Even an elephant, a lion will have it singly, but the lions, they tend to excel because they work in team effort, right? And let's say a man needs to build a house. Is it easy or is it better if a whole bunch of guys build a house together?
Easier.
It's
Much
easier.
It's much
Yeah, if you do it alone, good luck. I saw in Hitanagari how the Amish gentlemen came, they all wear the same coveralls and the same hat. They don't all fit in the same coverall, I'm saying they all wear the same uniform. It's all in the same hats. And they go in there, they start to build a guest house, and the guest, it was a house. Not a big building. They all got together like busy bees, working together like a team. So in this way, the lion is like the king of the jungle. Here in this particular pastime, the lion came through as a hero because he protected the great devotee of the Lord. Now, in the eyes of Hiranyakashipu, his son was not a hero. It just depends on which eyes you're looking at. And it's very obvious in these words, from this verse, that Hiranyakashipu did not look favorably upon his son. He called him impudent, you're not intelligent, you're a disruptor of the family, you're a stupid fool, munda atman. Of course, people say, the opposite was true. The opposite was true. Prahlad Maharaj was a very high-souled being. He was extremely intelligent and can see the difference between good and bad. He was not low class. He was very educated by his guru, Narada Muni, while Prahlad was in the womb. And yes, violating the family, that he did. He disrupted the family. He shook it up. Sometimes shake-up is necessary. It's necessary. This about 7 years ago, I had to go for a hernia operation. And when I thought, it sounds like hernia. Hernia, this thing is bothering me. And I would say hernia operation, surgery. Really, Hiranyakashipu was a pain in the neck. And so anyways, after the operation, within 24 hours, you're not supposed to just lie down. You're supposed to be active. And so to get the clients who had the hernia operation, which is mostly men, usually it is, they had us all stand up and they had us dance and move to like a trainer and to the music of Elvis Presley's I'm All Shook Up. I'm all shook up. So they were shaking us up so that, we would be set in healing. Sometimes that's needed, shaking up. We talked about that at the beach yesterday. Reality check. And sometimes not. We need to be shaken up. Krishna shook up Arjuna. He said, you are not behaving properly. Prabhupada paraphrased it, you're fool number one. Fool number one. What are the position Arjuna took? He could have been court-martialed. He could have been defamed. And Krishna warned him about defamation of character, or others would defame him. Duryodhana would scorn you if you didn't take up arms against the enemy. He would say you're a coward. Coward, C-O-W-A-R-D, not cowherd. Coward. Coward. So that's important. So all this name-calling went out towards Prahlad. But Prahlad Maharaj kind of even-stevened it. He said, oh, best of the asuras. You're the best of the demons. Prahlad Maharaj addressed him. Oh, best of the asuras. Please excuse me. Father and son differences are there. Mother and daughter differences are also there. It gets ugly. It's real ugly sometimes. until the son, well, it gets ugly when the father abuses until the son grows up. Then it gets ugly the other way around. Blood and guts again. People love the story of Prahlad and Narasimha. They love the fact that a little child who was abused and was the first victim of deprogramming was now saved and spared by God himself in the form of the lion. The image of the lion appears quite often. Lion amongst men, tiger amongst men, like that. And images are very strong. India's had been a preserver of lions for many centuries. And then the British came in, and that kind of changed everything. Tigers. Actually, you remember when we did the Sahasra Tirtha program? Jal, Sahasra Tirtha Jal, some years ago. Devotees collected holy waters from over 1,000 places. The main person who collected this water from all the bodies of water that are listed in the Shastra is somebody by the name of Nitai. He's from Canada. I knew him since he was a little kid. And he went to one area to get water. And the local people were saying, share, share. Don't go there. That means where the lions are found. The lions frequent there. But he went anyways. He was like a lion going into the lion territory. And he collected the water and brought it back. What a great project that was. That was one of the most outstanding projects that we'd ever taken out. Over 1,008 they were going. For 1,008 places, pilgrimage where there's water. And they collected it. They did it. So share, or lions, are to be feared. And especially if they're big. And this one was big. And he was unique. He had the stance of a human, a male body. And beautiful descriptions are given in the Bhagavatam of the mane of the lion and his countenance and his stature and his fangs and his claws and his jaws and even his ears perked up like this, and very elaborate descriptions given of the battle between Hiranyakashipu and Narasimha, the half man, half lion. Avatar. Avatar has become kind of a popular word, and I understand that they're doing a sequel to this popular movie called Avatar. Now they can say, we have 2 avatars now, but we've got 10. And in the Bhagavatam it describes over 20. And then it says, when it comes to avatars, there's as many as you can count waves on an ocean. So yesterday we were at the ocean, the waves weren't very big, but if you were to count them, we had trouble counting 108, volleying the ball in the air to keep it off the water. The ball is Krishna, we don't want to get him wet, that's the name of the game. So just trying to keep up with the count is difficult. But counting is sometimes necessary. Shishupal offended the Lord, and on the 100th insult, Krishna said, that's it. He's going. He's going to be eliminated. So the Lord arranges for beings who are devotees actually to be masqueraded, to take the form of a demon, and then to appear gloriously, with some pizzazz, and then to depart from the world in an inglorious way, infamous way. And this is what happens to Hiranyakashipu. But in this particular verse, we're simply discussing about some of the name calling that's going on, and Hiranyakashipu definitely expressing his dissatisfaction with his son. Now, all of you who were born into this world, you've had your parents tell you they're disappointed with you on some of the things you've done. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that true? You've all had your mom and dad say, I don't approve. True?
Yes. Yes.
And now that you've become a parent, for those who will, you'll experience that you'll be not approving of the actions of some of your offspring. That's true. I don't approve. They're disappointed. I remember before Crocs had become popular in ISKCON, everybody was like Crockies. I'm not talking about the guys that go like this. I'm talking about the shoes, the Crocs, right? So before they got really famous, somebody gave me a pair of Crocs. And they were like orange, and they were like loud. And I said, I wouldn't dare use them in the West, but I'll use them in my airport. Because in a place where the sun shines bright, they're less noticeable. Right. Okay, so I wore Crocs in my airport. And then I wore black socks, and then I had my saffron. And one of my godbrothers said, those colors are not coordinated. So I'm very disappointed. That was Bhavananda, who was into colors and things like that. One time I was walking on Queen Street in Toronto. You remember Queen Street in Toronto? It's the hip street. So an emo boy comes running at me like this, you know what emo boys, like emotional boy, and their hair usually goes like this, and they wear all black and it's tight, and that's. Anyways, he's an Orient, he was a Chinese boy, and he came to me, and I stopped at the stoplight because it was red. Like, I'm not going to be stupid, I stopped him. And he met me right at that juncture. And he said, excuse me, I just want to let you know, your shoes don't work with your clothes. And I didn't have like sandals or, which I guess are more appropriate for with a dhoti. I can't remember what I was wearing. I looked down and said, well, I said, there's more important things in life. Like you're not that body. You're a spirit within the body. And he goes, I think I shook him up a little bit. I gave him a reality check. And, clothes, being in fashion isn't everything. It helps to get attention. I was at the airport on my way coming down, and I personally don't like the news, but they had this little section where they had the models going down the catwalk. I kind of just peered over and looked at it and said, what do the people see in these weird clothes, It's so weird, it doesn't work, No one would be caught dead wearing those clothes on the street, And yet they're like the cameras, they're flashing. It's like, what a strange industry that is. So it's about, I don't approve of those certain kind of clothes. In my mind, I don't. I shut down, like some of the houses we went to see. I went on a chapel walk this morning. I said, no. And in my mind, no, it doesn't work. Or, like a super hot pink color. Somebody's got a hot pink house in the neighborhood. I hope it's not a devotee. I don't mean to offend you, but my mind just shuts down. It's no, it does not work. It's too loud. Don't approve. So we're always approving and disapproving. That's the nature of the mind. It is sankalpa vikalpa. That means accepting and rejecting. All the time we're accepting and rejecting. The one thing that when you're a sannyasi, wherever you go in the movement, people are always offering you food. And you always have to accept and reject you have to accept and reject more than anybody else does. And usually you have to reject because people are so nice, they give you so many things, and you have to say no. There was a song in the 60s, no, 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 no. You just have to say that, no, I just don't, I don't want it. It doesn't work for me. It might work for somebody else, but it doesn't work for me. So Hiranyakashipu was very disapproving of Prahlad Maharaj's ways, and he got a hint of Prahlad's antics by hearing what was going on in school during tiffin hour. Tiffin hour means lunch hour when you carry your tiffin, lunch box or whatever. And Chanda and Amarka reported back. Chanda and Amarka were the professors, the teachers of Prahlad. And they caught Prahlad, and then, let's say lassoing, or let's say huddling, getting all those friends to huddle, and they were very captivated by him. He said, stop this, what you're doing. It's not good for you. What's good for you is Komaram Abchirid Pragyo Dharmam Bhagavatamina. Now that you're young, you should take up spiritual life. And the boys were saying, spiritual life is for the old nannies, It's for the old guys, We're young, so we should just be having a lot of fun. And Prahlad insisted, no. So he was very forceful. He was a natural leader. And he disapproved of their actions. And he said, no, it's better to take up Dharma now. Take up spirituality now. Before you get entangled. Before you get attached. Before you get so caught up in the materialistic endeavor that you are almost like in a cocoon, trapped. So Prahlad was against this. He was disapproving of it. And of course, his disapproval was a disapproval towards his father. His father didn't approve of Prahlad's disapproving. Because he had his own school. They taught Dharma, Artha, Kama. Dharma means, usually it means, like in the general sense, it means many things. It means, just getting religious, worshipping a god. Easily it means karma kama. But moksha is a key word. It means liberation from this world. But that was not part of the curriculum. That was not part of it. It ended with sense gratification and joy. Hiranyakashipu's name means Hiranyako, Kashipu means soft bed. So my godbrother, our godbrother, Krishna Shekhar Maharaj, he sent me a draft. He sent me 2 scripts that he wrote. One is great, and if we have a chance, I'll read it later on. Hiranyakashipu meets his maker. It's excellent. And then he sent me another one. Oprah Winfrey meets Mr. Pillow. and it's comical. And Mr. Pillow is supposed to represent Hiranyakashipu. It's hilarious. But I like the first one he sent me about Hiranyakashipu. It's quite wonderful. And the mood, and the raga is right. So, several names came out there. If you really want to put somebody down, then and get them all riled up, then you call them names. You call them names. On my first walk across Canada, I stayed with a family. They were from, I'm trying to think, this is the middle of the country, in Saskatchewan. And I'm trying to recall, they were of East Indian origin. They might have come from Trinidad. It's possible. So it was Saturday afternoon. I had actually finished walking my quota, which is about 40 kilometers. And I was just trying to relax a little bit. I noticed in the man's room, he was watching, what was it, wrestling. Yeah, wrestling. And in the woman's room, she had her own big TV screen. And she was watching soap operas from India. My eyes started rolling, oh my God. So when I caught a little glimpse of what, because I don't watch TV, you just wonder, what's the public seeing these days? I don't even know what they're seeing. So I saw that at the wrestling match, there were two guys standing there. And in the ring, or outside the ring, I can't even remember, but they ended up in the ring. And they were just insulting each other. And it was all staged, it was like theatrics, you could tell. So when the one guy, they were insulting each other. And then when the one said something to the other about his mother, he wouldn't take it anymore. Well, if there's something that a man can't handle, is if you insult a person's mother. Is that true?
Yes.
You cannot, you will just be enraged. It's intolerable. So then they went at each other. I just said, oh my God, really, this is what people are watching. And then I'd move over to the other room and say, peek over to see the Indian soap opera. And then he said, oh my God. I don't know which is worse. So the insulting that goes on, insult leads to change, usually. It leads to anger, it leads to conflict, combat, and usually an end is put to it, if things get severe. And as devotees, we sometimes I've seen it, not so nice to each other sometimes, but we should be more tolerant towards each other. And we should demonstrate more kindness, a lot more softness. And, as far as gossip and rumor mongering goes, it shouldn't have a place in our community. And we should simply speak nice to each other in Krishna consciousness. And yet it goes on. So people seem to thrive on having an ongoing battle. But a better battle is one that ends, that has a short life. Like when I studied history, they had the 100 Years' War. God, did it have to last that long, The Battle of Kurukshetra lasted how many days? 18 days. That's the way it should be, Get your frustrations out, let it end, and that's it. And move on in life. That's the way it should be. Not ongoing, going on forever and ever and ever. Amen. It should come to a finish. You can imagine the Second World War, how happy people were that the war had ended. So that's what we want. Conflict will be there, but it must end, come to derive at some kind of conclusion. Even if within your own self, you're having a tug of war, you're having a struggle. Should I do this or should I do that? At one point, you make a decision, usually after due consultation, and then you live with your decision, even if maybe it's not the best of people, or you find out later on. Live with your decision and get on with it. Yeah, so we can see that there was struggle, and Prahlad Maharaj, he is just a shining star amongst all the Vaishnavas. In fact, he's categorically mentioned as the one who is the prominent member of the Daitya dynasty. The Daitya dynasty started with the union of Kashyap Muni and Diti. Diti was the mother of the Asuras. And Prahlad took birth in that lineage, in that family line. And he is perceived as the one who stands out because he was different than everybody else. Everyone was carrying on in their demonic ways. Prahlad was a saint, amongst them. Is that possible that somebody pure can come out of utter evil? It is possible. Or that which is destructive. Good things can come out of bad places. That's, we've seen that. It's possible. A beautiful good tree can come out of the desert. And almost like stand alone. It's possible. We've seen it. Actually, I took a picture of your tree there that's on the rock. And I sent it out at the beach. And I had one remark where somebody said, how is it possible? Wow. And a tree is able to live on a rock, and, just on the basis of maybe a little bit of dirt there. It's amazing when you look at it. Next time you go to the beach, look at that tree and say, how is it possible? So it is Prahlad who comes out of all the evil empire, Hiranyakashipu's empire. Hiranyakashipu, who actually had a reverence towards Brahma, but he didn't have a reverence towards Vishnu. And that was the cause, or the source of his downfall. You have to like Vishnu. Vishnu's to be adored. Later on, or actually it was, Bali Maharaj, also born in the dynasty. But he actually liked Vishnu. He had heard that Vishnu is to be honored. So we have to like Vishnu, we have to like God. Don't condemn. You have to condemn you like to do condemnation. You like to crucify yourself. You're the one that deserves it the most. That's the way a Vaishnava sees. He doesn't want to throw stones at other people. Isn't that what Christ said? Mary Magdalene was there, and she was a society girl, woman. And, she was going to be stoned to death. And Christ said, any of you who has been pure in the last month or so, you can cast the first stone. You know what happened? Nobody cast any stones. Because they were all guilty of, let's say, irresponsible sexual activities. Irresponsible and responsible. Responsible sexual activity means, taking care of your children. Does that happen today? Does it? I mean, through and through. Yeah, with some people. But a lot of people know. They don't give enough time, quality time. This is a feature of Kali Yuga. So you can say, with confidence, that the world in which we live is like this hernia. Hernia or Hiranyakashipu dynasty. It's demonic. We're living in a demonic society. And we, being surrounded by it, you can't help but pick up on some of the stuff. And it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not wholesome. Wholesome it's an important word for us. Wholesome means moral. Right? We have to use that word and throw it out a little bit more there and use it, because we talk about being transcendental. But before you're transcendental, you have to be wholesome. You have to be dharmic. We like to, let's say, really inject that into our devotees, into our younger devotees especially, that you have to be moral. You have to demonstrate moral character. Prahlad was that, and more. He was more than that. Hiranyakashipu, no. He wasn't. He was the sense gratifier. He just wanted to enjoy. I know that it's, are we finishing at 8:30? that the usual time? Does anybody know?
It's the normal time.
It's what?
It's the usual time.
Yeah, 8:30. Okay, so I'll wrap it up and then we're gonna see if you can all, fill in and make some comments on things. Okay? So, just to wrap up then, Radha said you're impudent, you're unintelligent, disruptor of the family, you're lowest of mankind. That's usually the Sanskrit term is Narayana. And you have violated my power to rule, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. And for all of the above reasons, I'm going to send you to Yamaraj. So Prahlad was charged for a lot of these felonies, you can say, disrupting the family. Disturbing a family, generally it's not a good thing. Don't disturb a family. Don't come in the middle of it. But oftentimes families need extended families to keep everybody on track. Nice thing about a family is all the members, they watch out for each other. Isn't that? And because we now live in a world where we're so alienated from each other, there's no one to watch over you. There's no one to care for you. So everyone's left alone. You're on your own. You're a lonely person. You don't know where your dad is. You don't want to hang around with your mom so much. Siblings are on their own. That's the way the world, you should see the so-called first world. That's where it's going. So you're vulnerable. And we don't want to be like that. We want to be in good, strong company. The company has to be like that. That's our greatest protection, is each other. And if you can remember that your devotees are your greatest protection, then we won't need to find the need to be overly critical of others in our midst. Again, look at yourself first, hold up a mirror, and say, this is the guy that's the biggest demon on earth. You surpass Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and Kumbhakarna, and all the others, collectively. In your mirror. So hold up your mirror and start to realize that. Hare Krishna. Now, comments and deliberations. Yes?
Hiranyakashipu seemed to have some standard he's telling Prahlad that you are lowest of mankind. He must be evaluating him by. So it seems as though people always have their standard by which they measure others.
Right. Yes, that's
a bit on that.
Right. It's true that, like, even in the demonic world in which we live, there's all kinds of standards that are allowed to happen. Like when it comes to, like, the internet, people can see everything, and a lot of it is bad, very bad. And yet society allows it. Society allows for gambling to be rampant, and it's not good. It's not good. Society allows for, games to be played. It's all very destructive to kill and to shoot and to go in a fast car and crash. And it happens. We had one fellow in Toronto who got on the sidewalk and he learned from someone else how to do it. He learned from some terrorists how to do it. Get in a van and just start to mow everybody down. So, according to his standards, it's okay to be destructive. And the standards are out there well, you can see anything and just kind of copy it. That's kind of what's out there. That's what I see. So the standards that need to be in place are those that protect the innocent The standards should promote chastity, protection, ultimate protection. But because it's Hiranyakashipu who violated the laws of the universe, therefore he had to be corrected. And what he was hoping to do with his power on the basis of his strength is that if you do something good, a bad reaction will come. And if you do something bad, a good reaction will come. He was trying to do that. Trying to reverse things. He is very influential. So, yeah, standards are there. But you have to look at what standard is on the basis of sattva guna, rajagun, or tamagun. You know, usually you can analyze everything based on its quality from the modes of nature. Is your standard based on the rajas, tamas, or sattva guna? Any other questions? No? All right. Maybe we should growl a little bit or roar, lion, and then shake us up. You want to do that? You ready? I know it's a shy audience. When I was in Mauritius, standing in front of the audience in this auditorium, said, now I've heard that Mauritian people are quiet and they all have good laugh. Because they know that about themselves. They weren't roaring, but they were laughing. We were trying to cut a few jokes, get them all excited. So standards are important. That's what I was saying a little earlier on. You know, there should be a standard for how many kartals should be played. There's how many, we had like a dozen people, 6 of them played kartals. Is it necessary? And it rings so much in your ear, you can't even hear the mantra. Maybe the standards need to be there. There's a standard for cooking, you know. Not too many sharks, as we say. Not too many red peppers. Standards for deity worship. All kinds of standards need to be there in our life. And there's also a standard of living. They determine what's a good standard, what's a bad standard. What is it like in Trinidad? Is it a good standard of living?
Middle class.
Middle, in the middle. Middle class is probably the best class to be in. Of course, compared to some countries, it's doing pretty good. That's the way we have to look at it. Anything else, though? Yes? Oh, wait a minute. Make it simple. Otherwise, I can't.
This rhythm.
Rhythm?
With this rhythm, I'll be school because I have to please you. Srila Prabhupada said a really clear for the lines of it,
Yeah.
change. No, clairvoyant and ESP people already read my hand small, harmless and what have you. Given that category, and when I came to them,
I'm already
showed up my
lost.
hand, it's just a change, but they want to.
I'm lost.
Alright.
I just can't follow it. I'm sorry.
That's all they change. That's all they
Give me
change.
one sentence and I can. I can't.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, we're all going to see you there for the festival at 3. Yeah. I was told to come down at 3:30. All right, another second day. So enjoy your fast and enjoy your feast later on.
I think somebody said that they are having a